Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Sleepy Facts. I'm glad you found your way here tonight to this small, quiet place where curiosity can stretch out softly beside rest, where learning arrives like a slow, unfurling breath, gentle, unhurried, and meant to ease you towards sleep rather than pull you awake. Settle in however feels right, and let this calm wandering begin to wash lightly through your thoughts. Imagine for a moment that the darkness around you is not a room at all, but the vastness of space. A velvet black sea, cool and endless, sprinkled with faint drifting stars. Across that silent ocean, a single thread of light begins to glide, so thin, so delicate, it feels almost like an idea rather than a thing. A pale shimmer traveling through nothingness, weightless, tireless, holding in its narrow body the memories of galaxies, the warmth of distant suns, the colors of worlds you'll never see. It moves without pause, without rest, always at the same unwavering pace. Its journey is not rushed. It simply exists in motion, tracing the outlines of the universe like a gentle hand running over the fabric of a dream. And tonight, we will drift alongside it, following the places it touches, the stories it carries, the mysteries it quietly reveals as it moves through space and time. Light in all its quiet brilliance begins as something so familiar that we rarely stop to wonder about it. A switch flips, a candle flickers, morning slips through a window, and yet, beneath its warmth and color lies something stranger, softer, far more ancient than the glow it paints across your day. Light is a traveler unlike anything else, made not of mass or matter, but of pure energy, shaped into tiny packets known as photons. Little wanderers with no weight to anchor them, forever gliding forward, as though the universe itself is carrying them along. These photons are both particles and waves, not one, not the other, but something dreamlike in between. They ripple as electromagnetic fields, two invisible forces weaving through each other at gentle right angles, dancing forward in a pattern older than stars. This dance needs no air, no water, no surface to ride on. It simply moves, flowing through the vacuum of space, the way a sigh drifts through quiet air. And from this strange, weightless motion comes everything we see. The colors of dawn, the lines of a loved one's face, the shimmer of distant starlight arriving after millions of years of travel. All of it carried by these small, restless travelers that never stop to rest, because resting is something they cannot do. Even the way light slows in water or glass is not truly slowing, but weaving. It slips between atoms, nudging past them, like someone making their way gently through a crowded room. Each pause, each tiny interaction bends its path, creating the illusion of slowing, even as the photon itself continues moving, always at the one perfect speed it knows. And this speed, this constant unwavering pace, is not something light chooses. It is something the universe requires. Long before humanity understood this, long before equations or experiments, light simply moved this way, unbothered, unchanging, stretching across the cosmos as stars were born, as galaxies drifted apart, as time itself unfolded gently around it. Imagine that speed for a moment, not as a number, not as something to calculate, but as a rhythm, a soft pulse woven into the structure of reality, a steady heartbeat of the cosmos. Every photon, from the glow in your room to the ancient rays crossing interstellar distance, moves to that same silent tempo. And with that steady motion, it carries stories. Some of the oldest begin in a universe without form. A universe so young it had no transparency at all, filled with a dense glowing fog of particles, still trying to settle into place. For hundreds of thousands of years, light could not roam freely. It was caught, scattered, trapped in a blur of constant collisions. But then, slowly, the fog began to clear. Atoms formed, space opened, and the first free photons began their journey, tiny messengers carrying the earliest memories of creation outward into the dark. Those ancient photons still travel today, stretched by the expansion of the cosmos into the soft, gentle microwaves known as the cosmic background glow. They drift through your body every moment, quiet, harmless reminders of the universe's first breath, and the same laws that let them move guide the light in your life as well. Light shapes the world around you, not just by illuminating it, but by participating in almost everything that happens. Within the leaves of plants, sunlight becomes food through a delicate chain of reactions. Inside your eyes, photons trigger tiny chemical changes that let you perceive color and depth. Even your sleep, your mood, the rhythm of your day, all drift gently with the rise and fall of light. As night gathers and shadows soften, your mind releases melatonin, nudging your thoughts toward rest. In the morning, the first hint of brightness dissolves that sleepiness, drawing you back into waking. Light is not loud about this. It never announces itself. It simply arrives. And your body listens. Everywhere you look, light is telling you something. A rainbow spread across the sky, whispers of wavelengths bending in droplets of rain. A star, faintly sparkling overhead, carries the signature of its temperature, its distance, even its age, encoded in the subtle shape of its light. A warm lamp by your bedside guides your body gently toward calm. Light is a language that never uses words, yet speaks to you constantly. And in this quiet moment, as your breath begins to deepen and your body settles a little more comfortably into rest, you are surrounded by the same soft laws that govern the most distant galaxies. You are held in the same fabric that carries photons across billions of years. You are part of the same gentle universe that lets light move exactly as it does, steady, patient, serene. In this dreamlike landscape, we drift now with light as it continues its cosmic wandering, carrying color, warmth, information, and memory through both the vastness of space and the small, familiar corners of your own life, gliding onward at the only speed it has ever known. The motion of light unfolds gently, like a soft ribbon unspooling through an endless night. And as we drift beside it, the world it touches begins to open in quiet, shimmering layers. Light may feel familiar, a warm lamp, a passing reflection, the glint on a glass of water. Yet beneath that familiarity lies something wonderfully strange. It is not a thing that can sit still. It is not something that can ever stop to rest. If a photon paused for even a breath, it would simply vanish from existence. Its being is motion, pure, uninterrupted motion, always gliding forward at its single, unwavering speed. That speed feels colossal when we try to imagine it with numbers, but felt from the inside, from this calm, drifting place, it becomes something different. Not a rush, not a race, but a gentle inevitability. The universe's natural pace for carrying information, color, energy, memory. And in that soft, ceaseless glide, light becomes a messenger. Some of its messages come from moments so ancient they feel like dreams of the cosmos itself. The faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, the cooled breath of the universe's earliest years, spreads everywhere like a subtle mist woven into space. Those photons have been traveling for nearly 14 billion years, brushing past galaxies, drifting through clusters of stars, slipping quietly through the emptiness between everything. To encounter one is to meet a traveler older than every sun you've ever seen. Other messages come from stars still burning now. A ray of light from our sun begins its journey. Deep within a core, hotter and denser than anything on earth. It bounces around inside for thousands of years, nudged by atoms, delayed by layers of plasma, until at last it escapes the surface and races toward Earth in just over 8 minutes. When it lands on your skin or sparkles across water, you're feeling the final step of a voyage that began long before the first humans walked the earth. Light threads itself into life in ways so gentle you barely notice. In a leaf, photons slip into pigments and stir electrons awake. This awakening begins the chain of reactions plants use to weave food out of air and sunlight. Every forest meadow and garden, every fruit seed and grain is shaped by this quiet partnership between light and living green. Even your breath carries the quiet fingerprint of photon-driven growth. Oxygen itself, the air you draw in slowly as you lie here, is a gift from ancient light passing through ancient leaves. And when that light reaches your eyes, the partnership becomes personal. On the surface of your retina, molecules, shaped like tiny receptors, shift their structure the instant a photon touches them. This tiny change becomes an electrical whisper passed gently along neurons, weaving into your brain's soft tapestry of color-shaped motion. Every image you've ever seen, every person you've ever looked at, every sunrise, every smile, arrive to you through the delicate choreography of light touching your eyes. Even the simple fact that you recognize night and day comes from light's rhythmic presence. Your circadian rhythm, the body's inner tide, sways quietly with brightness and darkness. Morning light nudges your system awake, easing down the melatonin that guided you toward sleep. Evening dimness invites that gentle hormone to rise again, preparing your body to soften into rest. Without light's daily ebb and flow, your internal clock would drift, untethered, uncertain of day's beginning or night's approach. And yet, as deeply as light shapes life, it also shapes the entire structure of reality in ways both subtle and profound. Because light travels at its one perfect speed, it defines how time itself unfolds. Its pace draws invisible boundaries. What can influence what? Which events can touch each other? What lies within reach and what still waits in the unwoven future? Imagine lighting a match on a quiet night. The glow spreads in a sphere, outward expanding at the speed of light. Everything that patch of light touches becomes part of your cosmic influence. Everything beyond remains untouched, not because of distance alone, but because light hasn't reached it yet. This growing sphere is your future light cone, the region of the universe that will one day know about that match. And the past light cone, the events that could have touched this moment, is shaped the same way, but in reverse, reaching back through time, tapering toward the place where your present now sits gently. These cones are more than diagrams. They are the universe's quiet way of keeping cause and effect in order, ensuring that effects never outrun their causes, that moments unfold with coherence, that the story of the cosmos never tangles itself into paradox. Even the sky above you with its countless stars is shaped by this limit. You never see the stars as they are, only as they were. The nearest ones speak from years in the past. The light of others left its star when ancient humans painted the first stories on cave walls. And the most distant galaxies shimmer at you from a time when Earth did not yet exist. Light speed is the thread that connects those ancient moments to your eyes tonight. And because it takes time to arrive, astronomers become quiet, time travelers reading the past, written in faint beams, piecing together the evolution of galaxies, the birth of stars, even the soft echoes of the universe's origin. All of this unfolds because light never wavers from its pace. Even here on Earth, where life feels immediate and modern, the constancy of light guides the invisible systems beneath your daily experience. Inside fiber optic cables spanning continents and oceans, pulses of light carry every message, every video, every whispered text between friends. That warm glow in your pocket, the gentle hum of connection, is built from photons racing through glass at a rhythm shaped by the universe. Even GPS, that calm voice telling you which turn to take, relies on light's unchanging speed. Satellites orbiting high above Earth send out signals whose timing must be corrected for both their motion and the curvature of space-time itself. If the adjustments were ignored, if Einstein's insights were brushed aside, your location would drift kilometers off every single day. And all of this, every correction, every measurement, every whisper of data, rests on one number: the speed at which light moves through a vacuum. 299,792, 458 meters per second. A number that feels impossibly sharp, Yet beneath the precision lies something soft, something serene, as if the universe chose this one rhythm for all its beams of information, for all its glimmers of memory, for all its quiet messages drifting through the dark. Light speed is not only a limit, it is a language, a bridge between space and time, a conversion factor that lets distance become duration and moments become miles. It is woven into every equation that holds space-time together. Remove it, and reality unravels, the fabric that holds galaxies in place. The flow of time, the sequence of cause and effect, all depend on this one quiet constant. And perhaps most dreamlike of all is this: for a photon, time does not pass. From its own perspective, if such a thing could be imagined, the moment it is created and the moment it arrives are the same instant. There is no before, no after, no waiting between. Light lives in a kind of eternal now, a presence in motion, never aging, never slowing, never lost in the passage of moments as we understand them. And yet, it carries those moments for us, delivering the age of stars, the stories of galaxies, the brightness of morning, the shimmer of reflections, the colors of rainbows. Light is our connection to the cosmos, and also to the small, quiet details of our own lives. From the candle flickering softly on a bedside table, to the first glow of dawn on a calm morning, to the starlight drifting across billions of years, every beam follows the same ancient rule. And as we continue drifting alongside it, we begin to understand that this rule, this absolute unwavering pace, is not a restriction at all, but a kind of cosmic kindness. It keeps reality coherent. It keeps stories unfolding in order. It keeps the universe gentle, structured, and knowable. Light does not rush. It simply moves at the one speed the universe allows, steady as a heartbeat, soft as breath, eternal as the night sky. And its glow continues, whispering through the dark, touching everything it meets with quiet, patient clarity. As we drift a little deeper into its dreamlike path, light drifts onward and we drift with it, moving deeper into its quiet unfolding, where the fabric of space and time begins to reveal its softer, more mysterious edges. There is no boundary here, no line between one idea and the next, only the gentle continuation of a story, whispered in a language made of brightness and motion. As light glides through the cosmos at its one perfect pace, it does more than illuminate. It shapes the possibilities of reality itself. It defines the outer border of communication, the farthest distance across which information can reach in a given moment. It tells the universe what can touch what and what must remain softly out of reach for now. This boundary appears most clearly when we imagine events unfolding across space. Picture two distant points, a star pulsing in a far-off galaxy and a quiet meadow here on Earth. Between them lies an ocean of darkness. If the starlight hasn't yet arrived, then that star, for all intents and purposes, does not yet exist to the meadow. Not because the star isn't there, but because its message hasn't crossed the silence between them. Light's speed is the gentle courier of existence. Only what light has touched becomes part of our experience of the universe. Everything else remains veiled, waiting its turn, drifting toward visibility at the slow, serene tempo allowed by space-time. This quiet delay gives structure to everything. It gives the cosmos depth. It allows time to behave like time flowing outward, moment by moment, rather than collapsing into chaos. Without this limit, events could bleed backward. Causes could scatter out of order. The universe could tangle itself into knots of paradox. Light space keeps the story coherent, letting each moment unfold in a way that feels natural, calm, comprehensible. This is why physicists describe space-time using light cones, those tapered shapes that mark the regions where influences can travel. But you don't need diagrams to feel what they mean. Just imagine you're standing in a quiet field. A match glows between your fingers, and that glow spreads outward, defining the gentle reach of your presence in that moment. Every heartbeat expands your influence in a luminous sphere stretching outward at the same ancient speed. This is how the universe understands connection. This is how it respects order. This is how it gently ensures that every event has its place. Far above you, the stars follow the same rule. Starlight, after traveling unimaginable distances, glimmers softly into your eyes. Each beam carries the history of a star, its temperature, its age, its chemical identity, all encoded in the shape of its light. Astronomers learn to read these shapes the way others read poetry, deciphering stories across billions of years. Because when we look into the night, we are not seeing space. We are seeing time. A galaxy 2 million light years away does not appear as it is tonight, but as it was when our distant ancestors first learned to spark fire. Another galaxy might show itself as it looked when Earth was forming from dust and rock, and some clusters shimmer from a time older still, nearer to the universe's youth. Light is a messenger carrying the memories of the cosmos. every star is sharing stories. Every photon is a letter written long ago in the language of energy and motion. And because light moves the way it does, we have a window into these ancient moments. We can look back across the ages, reading patterns frozen in beams that began their journey billions of years before the first human dream. Though the universe is vast, light makes it intimate. It lets distant history touch the present moment. It allows the old and the new to overlap softly in your eyes. But the constancy of light is not only a cosmic truth, it is woven secretly into daily life, touching the familiar things around you in ways too seamless to notice. Fiber optic cables carry the heartbeat of the modern world. The videos, messages, and soft late-night words shared between people. Inside those thin strands of glass, pulses of light bounce gently between the walls, zigzagging through thousands of kilometers with peaceful precision. Each pulse is a tiny packet of meaning, a spark of connection, riding the ancient speed limit as it travels from one mind to another. Every photo you see, every online message, every quiet moment spent listening to a song, all carried on light. And even if the journeys are short through cables, through screens, through the air around you, the constancy remains. The laws that guide starlight across galaxies also guide the glow in your pocket. GPS too rests on light's behavior. High above Earth satellites send out signals that bounce between ground receivers and orbiting clocks. Those clocks tick a little differently than clocks on Earth because motion slows time and gravity bends it. Einstein predicted this long before satellites existed, imagining how time would stretch and shrink depending on speed and height. If we ignored his insights, your navigation would drift wildly, sending you miles away from where you are. But because scientists account for those tiny distortions of time, GPS works with quiet reliability. Every direction, every gentle turn suggested by your device is shaped by the pace of light. Even your own sight is a collaboration with this cosmic traveler. Your eyes open, photons arrive, molecules in your retina shift, and suddenly color blooms into meaning. Brightness becomes recognition. Light becomes vision. Your brain hears these signals woven from invisible waves and tiny particles and turns them into the world you know. From the green of leaves stirred by morning to the soft lamp shining at your bedside now, light paints the world onto the canvas of your mind. And beneath all this familiar warmth lies something even more delicate, a truth hidden in the heart of relativity. Light does not experience time. From its own perspective, if such a thing could be imagined, the moment a photon is created and the moment it touches your eye happen instantaneously. There is no waiting, no aging, no sense of travel. It is born in motion and arrives in the same breath. It is humanity bound to inertia, to mass, to the slow flow of seconds who sees the journey. Light, weightless and free, knows only presence. This idea, soft and strange, has guided physicists to describe the speed of light, not simply as a limit, but as the stitching that threads space and time together. It is the conversion factor that allows distances to become durations and durations to become distances. The bridge that makes space-time one smooth fabric rather than two separate things. In the deepest physical theories, scientists often set the speed of light equal to 1, not because they forget its value, but because the universe becomes cleaner, simpler, more elegant when light space is woven directly into the units of reality. Once that is done, distances and times can be measured in the same breath. Space and time become interchangeable, different aspects of the same gentle continuum. This is why we measure vast astronomical distances in light years. Time becomes distance. Distance becomes time. A year of travel becomes a measure of separation. It is not poetic metaphor, it is the literal structure of the universe. Light space is the quiet metronome of space-time. And because of this, every measurement we make falls back on that speed. Even the meter, the simple everyday unit of length, is defined by light. 1 meter is the distance light travels in 1/289, 792, 458 of a second. A measurement woven from the universe's own rhythm. Rulers, clocks, equations, all rest on the pulse of light, and perhaps there is something soothing in that. In a universe full of motion and change, there is one number that never shifts, one constant that never bends, one speed that all observers in every corner of existence agree upon. Light speed is the universe's quiet anchor, and drifting alongside it, now you can feel the calm it brings. The serenity of something that simply is steady, impartial, eternal. A presence that asks for nothing, yet gives the universe structure, order, and beauty. And still, light moves, carrying with it the memories of stars, the warmth of suns, the colors of everything you've ever loved, gliding through the dark, soft, silent, always on its way. Light drifts onward, a gentle traveler crossing the vast canvas of space-time. And as we move with it, the universe begins to show its deeper, quieter truths, not as sharp equations or stark diagrams, but as soft impressions, echoes, smooth contours etched into the night. For all its constancy, light is not alone in its wandering. Everything made of matter, stars, planets, dust, even you glides through this same fabric of space-time. But while matter feels weight inertia, the drag of time passing light moves untouched by such burdens. It slips through the cosmos with no mass, no struggle, no resistance, following the simplest possible path. And because of this, light becomes a guide, a kind of cosmic compass. Where light bends, space itself is curved. Where light stretches, time has shifted. Where light colors itself red or blue, motion or gravity has left a fingerprint. Astronomers watch those fingerprints like gentle clues. A slight reddening of starlight reveals a galaxy drifting away. A faint smearing of a distant glow hints at gravity bending the beam around invisible mass. A subtle shift in brightness whispers of a planet crossing a distant star. Light carries all of this without effort, without weight, without ever losing its serene, steady pace. Even when it meets gravity, one of the universe's strongest sculptors, light continues moving in the only way it can, at the speed limit set long before stars ever burned. But gravity does not treat light like empty air. It shapes the path light follows, curving it like ripples around a stone in a quiet stream. Einstein revealed this with a simple, profound image. Space and time are not a rigid stage. They are a smooth, flexible fabric. Massive things, stars, planets, black holes press gently into that fabric, creating curves. And light, always gliding along the straightest possible path, follows those curves naturally. This bending of starlight was first seen during a solar eclipse in 1919, when the sun's gravity nudged the light from distant stars, shifting their apparent position in the sky. It was a soft motion, barely noticeable, yet enough to confirm that the universe flows like a quiet river shaped by the presence of mass. And because light traces these curves so faithfully, it becomes our way of reading gravity's handwriting across the cosmos. Around massive clusters of galaxies, light bends so strongly that it forms arcs and halos, distorted images of objects far behind them. Astronomers call these gravitational lenses, but the name does not capture the elegance of what's happening. It is space-time itself, cradling the path of photons, redirecting them in a gentle, majestic sweep. Sometimes, the lensing creates rings, perfect circles of light called Einstein rings. formed when a distant galaxy, a closer mass, and the observer align with exquisite precision. A cosmic mandala drawn in the faint glow of ancient starlight. Even black holes, the quiet giants of space-time, reveal their presence through light. Not because light escapes them, it cannot, but because their gravity bends the paths of nearby beams so dramatically that it forms a glowing halo around darkness. A luminous whisper outlining a place where time itself slows nearly to stillness. And so light continues its journey, always at the same pace, carrying with it these silent impressions of gravity's touch. But beyond gravity's whisper lies something even stranger, something that emerges when light meets the quantum world. Here, photons behave like tiny packets of probability, sometimes wave, sometimes particle, always both and neither. They can interfere with themselves, pass through two paths at once, vanish from one spot, and reappear in another without traveling in between. And yet, through all this strangeness, light remains steady in speed, as though the universe, no matter how dreamlike its behavior becomes, still preserves this one constant with unwavering devotion. Even more curious is entanglement. When two photons become linked so deeply that measuring one instantly influences the other, no matter how far apart they drift. A kind of silent harmony, unbroken by distance. It feels as though the universe is whispering beneath its breath. Connection is deeper than space, deeper than time. But even in this mysterious connection, information does not travel faster than light. The rule is never broken. The cosmic speed limit remains intact. Light space still defines what can be known, what can be shared, what can be understood between distant places. Some dreamed of particles tachyons have been imagined to break this limit. Creatures that would be forced to move faster than light, unable to slow down. But they remain only hypothetical whispers, mathematical shadows without evidence. Fun to ponder in the quiet hours of night, but not part of the universe we can touch. There are also ideas of bending space itself, warp bubbles, wormholes, shortcuts through space-time. Thought experiments drawn on chalkboards and in science fiction, imagining ways to travel without breaking the limit by folding the road beneath you. But all of these require exotic matter, negative energy, conditions the universe has not shown us, at least not yet. Possibilities remain, possibilities floating like soft mirages at the horizon of physics. And so for now, light remains the fastest traveler we know, the swiftest messenger, the quiet limit that keeps the universe coherent. Even though it moves so fast, it does not rush. Its motion is like a serene glide, a perfect flow. The universe's chosen rhythm for carrying information from one corner of creation to another. Closer to home, the effects of this constant pace weave gently into your daily life. Every time you make a phone call, a signal travels as pulses of light through fiber optic cables beneath oceans and continents. Those pulses arrive almost instantly, but not entirely. There is always the tiniest delay, a small, nearly imperceptible pause required by the laws of space-time. Streaming a video, checking weather, sending a message. Each action relies on light's unchanging speed. Not just the light emitted by screens, but the invisible beams traveling inside cables, bouncing from wall to wall in soft, mirrored angles. Even Wi-Fi, radio, Bluetooth, all forms of electromagnetic waves follow the same gentle law. They are siblings of visible light, reaching you with the same fundamental behavior, the same insistence on moving at the universe's one chosen pace. And then there is vision, your personal collaboration with photons. Every moment of sight is a partnership. Light touches an object, reflects and journeys toward your eyes. It passes through clear layers of cornea and lens, bending softly as it goes. It lands on the retina, where tiny molecules shift their shape in response. Those shifts become signals. Those signals become patterns. And your brain, with extraordinary subtlety, paints an entire world from those patterns. Every color you see is simply a wavelength. Every shade, every glimmer, every detail, all encoded in light. Your entire experience of sight is a slow, constant conversation between photons and neurons, between the external world and the quiet inner landscape of the mind. It is astonishing how effortlessly this happens, how natural it feels to receive the universe's stories through light without ever sensing the intricate dance that guides each photon's motion. Even when you close your eyes, traces of light linger, soft after images, memories of brightness, like the last echo of a gentle bell long after the ringing stops. And somewhere out there, beyond walls, beyond clouds, beyond the atmosphere, light continues traveling, leaving stars, passing planets, moving through the silent dark with the same quiet grace. As we drift with it now, the journey begins to widen again toward the oldest light in existence, toward the dawn of the universe itself, toward the photons that have been gliding through darkness for nearly 14 billion years. Still unhurried, still unwavering, still carrying the memory of the cosmos's first breath, light continues drifting, and we follow it gently, gliding toward the oldest whispers woven into the universe. There is no sense of urgency here, no pressure, no boundaries between one idea and the next, just the soft unfolding of a cosmic memory carried on beams that have never slowed, never slept. The most ancient of these memories lives in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the universe's earliest chapter. Long before galaxies spiraled into form, long before stars lit their first fires, the cosmos existed as a dense, hot mist where light could not roam. Photons collided constantly with charged particles ricocheting, scattering, trapped in a fog that hid everything from everything else. But gradually, the universe cooled, not suddenly, but with immense patience, like a warm day slowly drifting toward evening. As temperatures fell, electrons settled into orbits around nuclei, forming the first neutral atoms. And in that gentle shift, the fog cleared. Light was free. Photons that had once been imprisoned in a restless glow suddenly found themselves able to travel unhindered. They began their long journey through the young cosmos, and they have continued that journey ever since. Today, after nearly 14 billion years of drifting, their wavelengths have stretched with the expansion of space, softened into microwaves, and filled the entire universe with a faint uniform hum. This soft glow is the earliest picture we have of the cosmos, a snapshot of the universe's first clear moment. Each photon we detect from that time has traveled across nearly the entire history of existence, brushing past forming stars, gliding between galaxies, passing unbothered through the quiet vacuum until at last it reaches us. When scientists measure this ancient glow, they aren't just observing light, they're listening to the universe's first lullaby. And while these ancient beams drift across unimaginable distances, light also moves much closer to home, gently shaping every part of life on Earth. A single photon falling into a leaf can begin the process of photosynthesis, awakening electrons, capturing energy, creating the sugars that sustain nearly every living thing. From towering redwoods to delicate mosses, from grains and fruit to the air itself, nearly all life on Earth is rooted in sunlight's quiet touch. Every breath you take carries oxygen first woven by light. Every meal you've ever eaten began with a photon, Even the warmth stored within your body is descended from ancient sunlight, transformed and passed along through the web of life. Light is the source of more than nourishment. It guides your internal rhythms too. Your circadian cycle, the gentle ebb and flow of wakefulness and rest, listens closely to light's presence. As morning brightness grows, your body slowly pulls itself into alertness. As evening dims, melatonin rises, coaxing your thoughts toward quiet. Even now, your body senses the surrounding darkness, easing into calm. And all the while, photons continue weaving their soft patterns into vision itself. The process of seeing is so seamless, it feels effortless. But beneath that ease lies an intricate dance. Light touches an object, reflects, passes through the curved layers of your eye, and lands on the retina. Molecules shift their shapes in response, releasing tiny signals that ripple through your neurons. Those signals layer and combine and blossom into shapes, colors, depth. Your entire visual world is created from light meeting chemistry, meeting electricity, meeting thought. It is astonishing how intimately light participates in your experience, how it paints the world into being each morning, how it dissolves it each night, how it never speaks, yet tells you everything. But the influence of light reaches even further into the hidden structures of the cosmos itself. When distant stars explode, they send out bursts of light that reveal the creation of heavy elements: iron, gold, calcium, the building blocks of planets and bodies, and bone. Every atom in your bloodstream was forged in the glow of stars. Every element of your being carries the memory of light-filled furnaces scattered throughout the Milky Way. Even the emptiness between galaxies is not silent. Clouds of hydrogen emit faint radio light that astronomers use to map the shape of spiral arms. Nebulae glow in soft, colorful waves that reveal newborn stars forming in their swaddles of dust. Supermassive black holes at the centers of galaxies release brilliant jets of light that pierce millions of light years into space, illuminating regions otherwise lost in darkness. Light is the universe's storyteller, its painter, its historian, its messenger, and the stories it carries can be read by anyone who learns how to listen. A slight dimming of starlight can reveal a planet passing in front of its sun. A delicate pattern in a spectrum can identify the elements present in a distant star's atmosphere. A faint shift toward red can tell us how fast a galaxy recedes into the expanding universe. A flicker can reveal a supernova. A shimmer can reveal gas clouds being shaped by hidden forces. All of these messages arrive through light carried across vast stretches of space-time at the only pace the universe allows. Even gravitational waves, the ripples in space-time itself, are often paired with flashes of light that help locate their source. The universe speaks in more than one voice, yet light remains its clearest, most familiar language. But light doesn't merely tell the story of the cosmos. It binds the structure of space-time together. Its speed, constant, unchanging, absolute, is the quiet rule that shapes geometry, motion, and time. Distances and durations convert into one another using the speed of light as their bridge. The meter is defined by how far light travels in a tiny fraction of a second. Equations describing gravity, electromagnetism, and even quantum fields rely on the constancy of this one value. It is not a speed in the normal sense. It is the stitching of the universe, the rhythm of its unfolding. When we say nothing can travel faster than light, it isn't a scolding or a limitation. It is a description of how reality holds itself together, how cause follows effect, how timelines stay consistent, how events unfold without contradiction. Without this limit, chaos would seep in. Messages could arrive before they were sent. Events could collide out of sequence. History could fray and unravel. Instead, the cosmos keeps its quiet pace, slow, steady, ordered. A place where the past follows the past and the future remains gently out of reach. Light moves fast, yes, but its constancy gives the universe time. And just as light shapes the farthest galaxies, it also shapes your world. The tiniest details, the simplest moments, the rhythm of waking and resting, every lamp you switch on, every shadow cast across a wall, every warm sunrise, every passing reflection is part of the same ancient dance. And as we drift with light now trailing softly behind its endless journey, we move toward the final stretch of its story, toward the quiet understanding we've been approaching all along, toward the reason this speed, this single cosmic rhythm, is woven so deeply into the heart of everything. Light drifts onward, and we drift with it, carried now into the softest part of its story. The quiet realization at the heart of everything we've followed so far. Through the long, slow unfolding of the cosmos, through the tender shaping of life, through the hidden symmetries of space-time, light has moved with a kind of serene inevitability. Never hurried, never late. Always gliding at the single pace the universe allows. And now, as we reach the final stretch of this gentle wandering, the deeper meaning of that constant begins to reveal itself not as an equation or a rule, but as something elegantly woven into the very nature of reality. For all the complexity and mystery surrounding the speed of light, the truth at its core is disarmingly simple. This speed is not chosen. It is not adjustable. It is not a property of light alone. It is the structure of space-time. Imagine the universe as a kind of soft, flexible fabric. Space and time are not separate threads, but strands braided together into a single tapestry. Every movement through space is also a movement through time and vice versa. The speed of light is the conversion between these motions, the rate at which a unit of time transforms into a unit of distance. It is the stitching that binds the two together. Because photons have no mass, they do not experience time in the way you do. For them, there is no before and after, no journey, no aging. A photon born in the core of a star and a photon touching your skin arrive in the same instant of their existence. From their perspective, they do not travel from point to point. The universe simply unfolds around them. This timelessness is not an oddity. It is the reason light moves at this specific pace. Massless particles glide along the most direct threads of space-time paths, determined entirely by geometry, not by will. The universe guides them effortlessly along lines, shaped by gravity, curvature, and depth. This understanding turns the speed of light from a limit into something more delicate, a relationship, a harmony within the fabric of existence. And that harmony reaches into everything. It shapes how stars burn, how galaxies swirl, how black holes cast their glowing halos. It shapes how atoms bond, how electrons orbit, how chemicals react. It shapes how time flows, how distances stretch, how the universe expands. It shapes how you see, how you sleep, how you remember the colors of day. It shapes the entire story of the cosmos. When Einstein wrote his famous equation E equals mc2, he wasn't just describing energy. He was showing that mass itself is a form of light slowed and bound. Matter is energy folded into structure. Your body, your thoughts, your memories, all of it is made from the same cosmic ingredients carried by ancient photons. The iron in your blood was forged in stars. The calcium in your bones was crafted in supernova bursts. The oxygen in your lungs was woven in leaves touched by sunlight. You are not just shaped by light. You are in many ways the imprint of light its memory made material. And so the speed of light becomes more than a number. It becomes the quiet metronome of cosmic history. Every star that formed, every planet that cooled, every cell that awakened did so in a universe paced by this constant rhythm. Even the expansion of space itself is measured against the speed of light. When we say a galaxy is receding faster than light, we don't mean it's outrunning photons. We mean space between galaxies is stretching, and light moving through that stretching tapestry carries the record of that expansion. In this way, the universe grows, and light tells us how. Everywhere you look, every faint shimmer from distant stars, every warm glow from the sun, every quiet reflection in a window carries with it the geometry of space-time. It carries the story of distance, the story of duration, the story of the cosmos unfolding. And yet, for all its grandeur, light is also profoundly intimate. It touches your surroundings softly. It paints color across your day. It glimmers on water, dances through leaves, warms your skin, and fades into dusk. It slips through curtains in the morning, rests on your pillow in the afternoon, dims into amber in the evening. It keeps time with your life as gently as it keeps time with galaxies. Your body listens to it. Your mind soothes beneath it. Your dreams drift with it. Even now, as you lie in the dark or in soft lamplight, light is shaping the edges of your thoughts, guiding you toward calm. It is strange in a beautiful way how something so fast can feel so peaceful. But that is the essence of light, swift yet serene, constant yet soft, silent yet expressive, ageless yet always new. It is the quiet traveler that touches all things. And as we draw the final lines of this long, gentle journey, the answer we sought at the beginning returns with deeper clarity. Why does light have a speed limit? Because the universe is built to move at this rhythm. Because space and time are interwoven with this pace. Because cause must follow effect, and history must unfold in order. Because stability, structure, and meaning depend on this constant heartbeat. Light moves not at the maximum speed allowed by the universe, but at the speed that creates the universe's structure. It is not just fast. It is foundational. It is the geometry of reality expressed as motion. And so, light continues, gliding across galaxies, across oceans, across the space between your mind and the world around you, always on its way, always steady, always luminous even in darkness. The journey we followed from photons dancing in vacuum to starlight crossing the night, to the cosmic glow of the universe's childhood, to the gentle rhythms of your own body, all returns to one serene truth. Light moves at exactly the speed it must. No faster, no slower, perfectly balanced, perfectly constant, perfectly aligned with the unfolding of the cosmos. And now, here at the quiet end of this drifting story, you can let that constancy settle around you like a soft blanket. Let it slow your thoughts. Let it calm your breath. Let it guide you gently toward rest. Wherever you are and whatever time it is there. Thank you for drifting through this journey with me, for sharing this quiet space, for letting curiosity soften into calm. If this gentle exploration eased your mind or brought a little wonder into your evening, I am deeply grateful. And if it carried you towards sleep, then light in its soft, patient way has guided one more quiet moment. Until next time, rest well, and may your dreams move at just the right speed.